All right, guys. LSU loses this thing to Vanderbilt 31-24. And man, feels like the end, guys. It has already been a long season, but today was pretty much the icing on the cake, I think, that we all needed to see here. A terrible performance from LSU defensively, first half. You really didn't get any stops. Then, later in the game, defense started playing a little bit better, get you 3 stops in a row. Offense just completely loses track of what they're doing, and you end up losing the football game again. And now you're 5-2, 2-2 in the SEC. You got top 5 team coming to Tiger Stadium next week. You got Alabama after that. Not ideal for the Tigers. They're not a good football team. Not good enough to beat those good teams like that. And I think it's finally setting in for a lot of LSU fans what this season's going to be. And the reality is, best case right now, you're 8-4. Worst case, you're 7-5, and you lose pretty much the rest of your conference games. It wasn't pretty today. Vanderbilt really didn't do anything that caught you by surprise. I mean, they pretty much did everything that they were going to try to do. It was just a matter of you weren't able to stop it. 400 yards of offense from them. They ran the ball for 240, only passed the ball for 160. I mean, they dominated time of possession. Like I said, they have a game plan that they try to execute every single weekend, and they were able to execute it to a T. And it feels like one of those things now where you're playing another big game, another game on the road, and you just get out coached, man. You just weren't prepared to play. It's the same thing over and over and over and over. And LSU fans, I'm tired of seeing it. Y'all are tired of seeing it. It's getting to the point something has got to change. It can't keep happening the same exact way and nothing changed. So obviously there's going to be tons of coaching staff changes. We'll see how the season ends up playing out. But it really feels like this season's going to go off the rails. Like, there is no saving this season anymore. Yeah, they're sitting at 5-2, and technically, yeah, if they went out, they'd be in the playoff, but that's not happening. We all know that's not happening. The offense isn't good enough. Clearly, against good teams, the defense isn't very good either. We've seen now, against Ole Miss, they weren't able to get the big stops when they really needed to, and then today against Vanderbilt was just piss poor. I mean, the entire first half, they scored on every single one of their drives except for one, the first 5 possessions they had. And then it becomes another thing where you're talking about other teams scoring touchdowns and you have to settle for field goals. And it's ridiculous that we have to continue to have these same conversations over and over again. We can talk about Joe Sloan, we can talk about the offensive line, we can talk about Nussmeier. Bottom line is you have to be better. Like, you have opportunities after opportunities every single week to make things right and figure these things out, and you continuously do not do them. The biggest mistake and what is ultimately going to get Brian Kelly fired is going to be the fact that he chose Joe Sloan over Mike Denbrock. Because ever since Mike Denbrock has left, this offense has been a shell of anything that it used to be. And Garrett Nussmeier, I feel like, played his best game of the season today. I thought he was awesome. Didn't even get to 30 passing yards. I thought LSU was able to run the ball a decent amount. Ran for 100 yards on 20 attempts. You almost ran for 5 yards a carry. So it wasn't the fact that you weren't able to move the ball. It's the story it was last year, right? Last year we talked about this offense, and it was all yards between the 20s, right? And when they get in the red zone, they weren't able to run the ball. It made things tough on Nussmeier, having to throw the ball every time they got inside the red zone, and it just, they could never finish drives. And literally, Clark Lee said it in his press conference on Wednesday. Like, we're going to give up yards. They have great players. We're going to give up tons of yards. It's when they get inside the 20, can we make them kick field goals? And literally, that's all LSU did today was kick field goals. You scored 2 touchdowns. You kicked 50 field goals, missed one. And then you go and look at Vanderbilt's drives, and they scored touchdowns. And that's the difference in the football game. Because Vanderbilt did what they wanted offensively, and they were able to finish off drives because they can efficiently run the ball. They have a quarterback that can make plays. They have a great offensive line that can give them time to do the things they want to do offensively, and LSU has none of that. Like I said, it was honestly a shame because I thought Nussmeier played one of his best games. He didn't turn the football over. We talked about it in the pregame. I said that LSU was going to win this football game if Garrett Nussmeier didn't turn the football over, and he goes out there and no turnovers. Played, like I said, played really well, um, and it just, I don't know, man. It was just one thing after another. It feels like it's the same conversations over and over again with Brian Kelly having to use timeouts at inopportune times when you need timeouts desperately. Guys not prepared, bonehead penalties on every big play. It felt like those last couple drives you had a penalty that hampered you. You literally called the timeout on the goal line. And it's crazy, right? I was sitting here watching the game, right, and Caden Durham breaks that long run, gets tackled at the 2, and I'm saying to myself, I'm like, this is awful. This is worst case scenario because LSU has shown me time in and time out that they can't score when they get inside the 5. And what happened? The first play, first of all, you had to burn a timeout on the 2-yard line. Then you run a great play out of the timeout, and then somebody messes up. You get a false start. You get backed up. Then you run a shitty wildcat play. All right, you gain no yards there, and then in that case, it's third and manageable, but this offensive line can't block, and they tried to run that same play that they ran to Trey Green, thinking that Vanderbilt wasn't going to be prepared for that. Like Trey gets the ball every time we're in the red zone, so we're very predictable. So when they had to kick a field goal right there, it was like what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? And then your defense finally starts getting you stops, and all of a sudden the offense can't do anything. You have the great play by Nuss where, honestly, it was obviously holding. All three of the offensive linemen got their ass handed to them on the play, right? They all tackled the defensive linemen that they were trying to block because they all got beat. And Nuss gets out of it, converts like a 3rd and 12 or whatever. He's super excited, and the whole time it's coming back because it's like your offensive line is atrocious. I watch, obviously Tyree Adams going out of the game is not ideal, but then DJ Chester comes in, and I'm watching him get bull rushed and pancaked by defensive linemen that are 230, and we already know what Weston Davis is. He's one of the worst tackles in football, in college football. So you already know what you're getting there. So Nuss is getting pressured from the left end, the right end. The pocket closes on him so quick. He has to make decisions within, a half a second of where he's going with the football. And it was like, why on those last 3 drives did y'all just abandon running the football? Like, you actually had a great day running the football. You ran the ball for almost 5 yards a carry, but it's on first down, and then we take a sack on first down, and it's 2nd and 18, or you try to run a bubble screen, and you got 2 dudes blocking 1 guy. It's literally 2-on-2 out there. You have 3 guys. They have 2 guys. All the 2 tight ends had to do was block their guy, and they both blocked the same dude. And one guy gets a free run, boom, -2 yards. Now you're behind the sticks again, and then you're just relying on Nussmeier to hopefully bail you out of a situation, and he wasn't able to do it. Drops were a problem. Barian Brown, that's a crucial drop. You cannot have that in that situation where you need that first down. And I didn't agree with them punting because I knew the defense wasn't great, and as the game got on, it wasn't like they were going to get significantly better, right? So I didn't agree with punting the ball with 3 minutes left, but it's also one of those things you only have 2 timeouts anyway. So why not go for it? And then what do you know? First play, they break off like a 40-yard run, and then the game's over. The game's over just like that. And like I said, we're sitting here talking about the same shit, and it's frustrating, man. And I hope that LSU just peels the Band-Aid off because we've seen it now. We've seen enough out of this Brian Kelly and his staff and the way he prepares this team. This team is talented. You can't look at this team and say this team isn't one of the most talented teams in the country, at least top 10, top 15, right? And they don't look half as near prepared as other teams. Like I don't know, man. It's just a constant thing, and it's like, how long are we gonna sit here and just wait for Brian Kelly to hopefully get this thing right, because he's proven throughout his career he can't beat teams that have the same amount of talent, if not more. Like, he's proven that over his entire career. So why would that change now? Um, just a frustrating way. It feels like the end of the season already. Like I said, you're 5-2. You have A&M coming in, who's probably going to beat you. You're going to go on the road to Tuscaloosa, and after you play A&M, half the team that's draft eligible is going to opt out. Because why would you stay and risk getting injured for this team that you were paid to pretty much come just make the playoffs with? So, like, that goal's finished. So why do you even need to play unless you're really just trying to boost your draft stock more? But I mean, it's like, what do they have to play for after that? So you're probably going to get housed at Alabama the next week. Boom, now you're sitting at 5-4. I would say they can beat Western Kentucky. I would hope. And then the OU game, going on the road to face OU. Like, who knows what OU is going to be at that point, but you don't feel like you're a better team than Oklahoma right now. So this team easily goes 7-5, and they go 7-5. You're getting 5. Like, things got to change. Like, I know the people of Louisiana and the people at LSU invested a lot of time and a lot of money into this team, and to get the performance that you're getting out of this team, it's not good enough. And Brian Kelly's been able to use excuses for his entirety of his LSU career, and the excuses are running out, man. You can't go to the podium and press conference. I'm interested to see what dumbass excuses he has for tonight. But you can't keep using the same excuses over and over again, where we got to execute, we got to do that. Like, it's your job to figure that stuff out. And every week, or every time we lose, we can't be talking about the same things over and over again. Like, so, I mean, who knows where this LSU season is going to go. Maybe it's just one of those things where the SEC is the Wild Wild West this year, and, they'll come out and play good next weekend and somehow find a way to beat A&M, and then, the Bama game is the Bama game. But, I mean, it's not ideal if you're an LSU fan right now, and times are not looking good. I'm pretty much out on Brian Kelly. I haven't really been a big fan of his throughout his tenure. I really never was on the bandwagon, but definitely hopped off of it now, and it really honestly doesn't really matter what they do the rest of the season, because this team has no chance of winning a national championship, but pretty much no chance of making the playoffs unless they go perfect, and we all know that's not happening. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to be breaking this down a little bit later on in the week, I'm sure, again, and then talking about next week's game. So make sure you stick around for that. Make sure you follow us on all the socials and stuff like that. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys for watching.